The Justin Fields experiment has officially hit rock bottom. 5 years, 3 teams, and it's the same story. Flashes of brilliance followed by drives that make you question if he's even watching the same game. The truth is that we've reached the point where the excuses are completely gone. The next step never came. A London fiasco was the beginning of the spiral, 9 completions, 9 sacks, and a quarterback who looked completely lost. Then this week, it finally happened. After another dismal outing against Carolina, it resulted in his much expected benching. And I mean, look, we could all see this coming, right? Well, I guess just about everyone other than the Jets front office. And now, unfortunately, it's time to ask, how bad is Justin Fields actually?
Justin Fields and the Jets, it's been quite the scene. I think a lot of us thought at the beginning of the season maybe Aaron Glenn is rowing in the right direction. Maybe Fields and Garrett Wilson are going to work out, and turns out they fucking suck again, dude.
All right, KRICH crew, we are back, and we get to talk about one of my favorite topics, Justin Fields, because he's just not a good quarterback at all. Like, at all, he should be moved to running back, and we're going to talk about that more in this video because really that frustration that we just heard from that clip is the frustration that's been felt by every single Jets fan this year. Like, coming off of that London game, that arguably has to be the worst game or quarterback performance we have seen all year, as he was just constantly being sacked by that Denver defense. Like, he's holding onto the ball too long, can't make the right reads, and truthfully, just Justin Fields is no longer an NFL quarterback and needs to either switch positions or be moved to the bench like he was this past week. Specifically in that London game though, Fields was sacked 9 times. And don't get me wrong, that is a lot at the best of times, but when you complete only 9 passes on the day too, it becomes an even bigger problem. And trust me too, the opportunities, they were there if he wanted to take them all game long.
Offensive tape was a total disaster. It's as bad as an offensive tape as I've watched in years. I'm surprised because I really enjoyed time with them a couple weeks ago having Monday Night Football and was really impressed with Aaron Glenn. It's not equating to wins right now, so I can't defend that. But that offensive tape was absolutely terrible. Garrett Wilson's career is like dying there. He's being wasted talent-wise. I've defended Justin a lot, and I don't think yesterday's performance is totally on Justin, but Garrett's open. Like, Garrett's open on tape yesterday, and we like, my thing is this with dude, if it's man coverage, just throw the ball to him. I don't care what the route says. I don't care what the read says. If it's man coverage, throw him the ball. And we're like the final play of the game, throw him the ball. Then
just 1 week after that chaos, he completes 6 of his 12 passes for 46 yards against the Carolina Panthers, taking 3 sacks, and that sets Justin Fields' average quarterback rating on the season at 32.1. Like, look, you guys do not need to tell me that that's very rough. Like, that is an extremely rough outing for any quarterback in the NFL. And look, it's safe to say too that when Justin Fields is your starting quarterback, whether it be for the Jets or any other team, really, you're not a serious competitor with him as your quarterback. Like, what's actually crazy too is that the defense, it's been playing pretty well all year long, and the past 2 weeks, I think is what it is, might be the past 3 weeks, have held their opponents under 13 points or at 13 points. But again, it's the offensive failures that are just costing this team opportunities to win and not move the ball despite the defense playing so well. Unfortunately too, what Dan Orlovsky was explaining in that clip too is something that Justin Fields has dealt with and kind of has been plagued with just his entire NFL career. The bottom line is he's now in year 5 and still completely unable to read defenses, meaning he holds onto the ball too long and doesn't pull the trigger when opportunities arise. On top of that too, he does not throw the ball with anticipation, meaning when he does throw the ball, it arrives way too late and the defensive back can then make a play on it. But now that begs the question, if this is the same Justin Fields that we've all grown accustomed to and seen in the past, 5 years of his NFL career, why are NFL teams still going and taking a chance on him? And well, it is a very good question, but to fully understand that, we have to go back to where it all began and where the questions began to arise, which is back in Chicago.
Right, with Justin Fields, you know, there's a superstar element. There is. There's no doubt about it. With as powerful as his arm is, and as great an athlete and body he has and all of that, you go, he could be legit, unbelievable football player. Watch out. He'll be a great quarterback. But I also think there's an incredibly, a low floor, a bust factor there too. because of some of the issues we talked about. He's put in some situations and has some reads on plays where I just want to go, I don't understand this. I've known offense and football my whole life. I don't really get what he's reading or what this offense is trying to deliver or how it's helping the quarterback. There is a lot of that.
As we all know, Justin Fields is a matchup nightmare in the run game. He can take any play to the house, and on top of that, he has a live arm that can challenge deep. In terms of what NFL general managers and head coaches are looking for in the modern NFL, these are all traits that are incredibly high up on that list in a quarterback. If you can get one who can balance all of that along with the quarterbacking fundamentals, and you get a top 5 player who's almost certainly going to blow your Super Bowl window wide open. And with the Chicago Bears, that's what they hoped they were getting when they spent their 11th overall pick on him in the 2021 NFL Draft. Chicago fans had just endured 4 years of Mitchell Trubisky, who'd become the latest in a long line of quarterback failures for the Bears. In fact, that list of failures is so long that the Chicago Bears franchise has yet to field a 4,000-yard passer across their entire history. It was a sorry state of affairs and the pressure was on, but Fields absolutely had that superstar upside and aura about him. And really, if you're unable to develop a quarterback to pass for over 4,000 yards, why not get one who can make up for it with his legs? Everyone also knew that Fields would require plenty of development as a passer, so the Bears went out and got Andy Dalton to operate as that bridge quarterback. Unfortunately though, he only lasted until midway through week 2 of that 2021 season before getting injured, so in went Fields against none other than Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, who would go on to be featured in the Super Bowl later that season. And what did Fields do? Well, shockingly, he actually won that game 20-17. It doesn't get much better than that for a debut, but behind the final scoreline were some pretty concerning numbers. Most notably, his 6 completions from 13 pass attempts equated to a 46% completion rate. Then, 1 week later, that completion rate dipped all the way to below a very ugly 30% in a 26-6 loss to the Cleveland Browns. And look, don't get me wrong either, because while certain things did improve for Fields, whether it was throwing the ball a little bit more on time or just kind of anything that was related to throwing the football, his accuracy and just reading defenses always was going to be his kryptonite, and it has remained his kryptonite to this day. Even as a sophomore in 2022, he completed 60% of his passes for just 2,242 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. While Fields does deserve some benefit of the doubt for the dismal offensive personnel around him, those numbers were still just not good enough. The one positive though was his very impressive 1,143 yards and 7 touchdowns as a runner, as he was delivering at his ceiling from a rushing perspective, but the flaws in his passing game meant that all it amounted to was a 3-14 record for the Bears and a first overall pick in the 2023 draft. This was the fork in the road moment for the Chicago Bears. 2 years into the Justin Fields experiment, and what did they want to do? Did they want to stick with Fields and bank on his passing game improving, or start fresh and use that first overall pick on either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? Ultimately, they were still enamored enough by his upside as a dual threat quarterback and were hoping to try and cure his passing deficiencies by finally supporting him. They traded that first overall pick to Carolina, getting back an absolute haul of draft picks and wide receiver DJ Moore in return. The first of those picks was spent on offensive tackle Darnell Wright as well. So now, for the first time in Justin Fields' career, he actually was given some pieces to work with. And what did he do?
A scary performance if you're a Bears fan, because you're thinking to yourself, clearly Justin Fields has progressed and will take the next step. The Chicago Bears had the #1 overall pick, and they didn't use it on a quarterback. Instead, they committed to Justin Fields. The Bears lost again. I believe Justin Fields has lost 9 straight starts, Andy, and I believe the Bears have lost 11 straight games. It is not good. So, Joy, answer me this. Have the Bears failed Justin Fields, or am I missing something?
That reaction was to a season-opening 38-20 loss to the Green Bay Packers, in which Fields completed 65% of his passes for 216 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception, while taking 4 sacks. This all equated to a 19.8 quarterback rating. So it's definitely not exactly the strongest of starts, but to at least cut Justin some slack, we kind of have to take into consideration that some crazy things, as we all know, do happen during that week 1 every single year in the NFL season. But even as we flash forward to see if things improved later in the season, it's pretty interesting to see what happened.
He thinks they should bench Justin Fields. Here's what Martz had to say. The whole situation with him demoralized his team. If they don't make a change, I think it's just going to get worse. If that's possible for this to get worse, it's a demoralized football team that's heading down.
So yeah, it's still not great then, and in fact, that's when all the panic was kind of starting to set in for the Bears. Like, despite being in his third season and being given a much better offense to operate in, Justin Fields had delivered more of the same, with the Bears looking completely uncompetitive as they fell to an 0-3 start. By year 3, development simply needed to have happened, but for Justin, it just hadn't. He was still inaccurate, still not reading defenses well, and still making bad decisions. By now, he was 5-23 as a starter, and yes, he had shown immense upside as a runner, but the progress as a passer was non-existent.
I'm watching the tape, and I went back yesterday and kind of broke down this Bears tape. I don't even know what they call it, to be honest with you. No, I'm dead serious. Someplace he rolling right. It ain't nobody in the flat. It's only one person going. Who he throwing the ball to? Then again, I see plays to where you looking at? These boys wide open. Let the ball go. And he's not letting the ball go.
The Bears organization was certainly not blamed for either, but it was becoming clear that this guy was not the future. A thumb injury then compounded the problems, knocking him out for 4 games during the midway point of that season too. While Fields did return and put together some surprisingly good performances to close out the 2023 campaign too, it was too little too late. Some of the fan base wanted to run it back one more time, but the front office wasn't having any of it. The draft pick they had gained from Carolina as part of that Bryce Young trade had turned into the first overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft, meaning they could now turn the page completely and swap their struggling Justin Fields for what many perceived to be a generational prospect in Caleb Williams. As a result, it was time for a fresh new start for Fields.
We got some breaking news out of the NFL. The Chicago Bears are trading quarterback Justin Fields to the Steelers. This, according to senior NFL insider Jonathan Jones. In return, the Bears reportedly getting a 6th-round pick that becomes a 4th-rounder based on playing time. That is per ESPN.
He would be joining veteran quarterback Russell Wilson in the Steelers quarterback room, and with the veteran entering his season injured, Fields would once again be opening up the year as a starter. And this time, it actually went quite well. He led the team to wins in each of the first 3 games of the season, completing over 70% of his passes in 2 of those 3 games as well. It was a completely different version of the Justin Fields that we had come to know in Chicago, and with each win, it looked as if he might hold on to the job in Pittsburgh. Except, as we all know, Mike Tomlin, he had other ideas. Much to the surprise and dismay of many in the media, he reinserted Russell Wilson as the starter once he was healthy, thanking Justin Fields for the 4-2 start, but not wanting to see any more of what the young quarterback had to offer. And now look, I think even myself included, and I know a lot of NFL fans too, when that decision was made, a lot of people were kind of questioning, why are we giving the offense back to Russell Wilson after you just witnessed what Justin Fields was doing, playing so well and kind of ride out that, and then once Justin Fields does go back to playing, like Justin Fields, then you could put Russ in, but instead, Mike Tomlin just said, no, I'm good, and wanted to put Russ in right away because, well, he was already seeing what Justin Fields was doing and wasn't liking what he was seeing on film from Justin Fields. Like, even though the Steelers were winning games, there were some concerning things popping up on tape that were being masked by those victories to the public.
But when Calvin Austin is butt-ass naked, wide-ass open, Fields just checks the ball down. To illustrate my point further, he had the 3rd longest time to throw last year, but like I said, he threw the ball 0 to 9 yards down the field, the most in the NFL.
And yes, that's right. Justin Fields was still showing significant deficiencies when it came to his ability to read what the defense was giving him and how to react as a result. Mike Tomlin was watching these wins back and seeing lots of meat left on the bone. One of the reasons Fields was completing so many more passes than normal was that he was quickly reverting to check down and passing up the opportunities on further downfield passes. Like, his average depth of target was 7.8, which was a whole yard lower than his previous lowest. And Tomlin knew that if he wanted to win games in January, he would need somebody who could diagnose more complex defensive coverages and be willing to let it rip. Justin Fields was just not doing that, and for all the flaws in Russell Wilson's game, he certainly would pull the trigger when he did see the chance. So Justin Fields went back to the bench where he would stay there for the remainder of the year. Mike Tomlin hadn't been willing to trust Justin with his playoff caliber Steelers roster, but his tidy 6-game sample hadn't gone unnoticed, earning him a 2-year, $40 million contract that would make him the starting quarterback of the New York Jets. As we all know, the Jets were trying to pick up their pieces after an agonizingly disappointing Aaron Rodgers tenure, and with playoff football not exactly being the top priority. So Justin Fields, he looked like an appealing cheap option to take a flyer on. And I mean, look, after all, quarterback reclamation projects have been of all the trend in recent years, but the odds of Justin Fields adding his name to that list always really seemed unlikely. His struggles as a passer, combined with a wide receiver room that featured Garrett Wilson and essentially nobody else, didn't exactly sound like a winning recipe. But with a few very tidy running backs in the stable, dreams of a brutal run-first identity on offense were materializing. Perhaps this would finally be the recipe to unlock that elite version of Justin Fields that the Chicago Bears were hoping to find when they drafted him 11th overall. Well, 1 week into the season, it appeared as if it might just be the case, as Justin Fields almost led his Jets to a victory over his old team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unfortunately though, Rodgers got the better of him in the 34-32 thriller, but some of the passes that Justin Fields was unfurling downfield were incredible. He completed 72.7% of his passes for 218 yards and 1 touchdown, while hitting 48 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. This was it too. Many Jets fans were like, this is the Justin Fields that we all knew we were going to get and that the Steelers shouldn't have given up. Hell, especially after that performance too, many Jets fans were like, the wins, they're gonna start coming in. Don't worry, they're gonna start coming in. Yeah, they never started coming in. Instead, the Jets have lost each of their last 6 games since, and the Justin Fields experiment is a big reason why. His 3 games with over 200 passing yards might look pretty on paper, but as often is the case with Justin, there are red flags hiding beneath the surface. For example, over those 5 games since the impressive week 1, the split in production between the first half and second half is dramatic. Across the first half of those 5 games, Fields has completed 57.5% of his passes for 170 yards and 0 touchdowns. Then in the second half, when the Jets have fallen behind and defenses are offering up much softer coverage, he's completed 67.2% of his passes for 411 yards and 3 touchdowns. That is a drastic difference, telling the story of a quarterback who is doing all of his damage in garbage time. And then, yes, that brings us to the absolute disaster that happened in London. 9 completions, 9 sacks, and a negative net passing yards of 10. That's terrible. And in terms of what comes next, who knows? And yes, Justin Fields, he's special when he runs the ball. We've all seen it this past year. But unfortunately, as a passer, he just isn't going to develop into what teams and players and fans want him to develop into. And it's time to admit that maybe we need to stop trying this Justin Fields experiment. Occasionally, he will flash, but he's not reliable enough when it comes to executing the quarterbacking fundamentals. He keeps getting chances because of his eye-popping athleticism and running ability, but the sooner the Jets realize he can't lead them to sustained success, it's probably going to be for the better. Now, KRICH crew, if you made it this far in the video, make sure that you guys, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen with the Justin Fields experiment. And truthfully, if he should be done this year, given another chance, just let me know, because really, I haven't been a Justin Fields believer since he left the Bears. It was a slight moment, but I didn't think it was ever going to work with Pittsburgh, and definitely now not with the Jets. But I just wanted to give you guys an update on the channel as well too, is that we are going to be uploading vlogs, Q&As, behind the scenes stuff, all on the membership channel. So if you guys are interested in that, it's simply just $5. I would really appreciate it. It supports me. I am a full-time content creator, so it would help me support to make sure that I'm putting everything back into the videos, whether it's with software, camera gear, or whatever. But the one that is coming out tomorrow is going to be from this past weekend. Again, I'm new to it, so I'm just starting with it. We went to the ASU game and it was an absolute blast. So you guys will see that. Went with my dad and grandpa. So again, as always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. And as always, you know what the drill is. I will catch you guys in the next one.